Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. The day is Monday. Today we are pleased to introduce a series of post-retirement workshops. Today, as Monday, we'll begin with part one. We focus on retire with Gepf. And then on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, we are going to run part two of retire with Gepf. And then on Wednesday, we are going to proceed and run a workshop on resign from Gepf workshop. And on Thursday, we are going to run the last leg, which is part four, which is termed resign from Gepf. So today it will be context. Tomorrow, which is Tuesday, we are going to broadcast analysis, meaning that we are going to take the benefit statement and analyze it and quantitatively give you practical outlook into how benefits analytically so that you are able to firmly be on the hold or on the know in terms of how best to make a call, whether to retire or not. Thank you very much for joining us. And indeed, on Wednesday, it will be, which is the result two-day workshop. It is going to focus primarily on Thursday. It will be analytics, where we are going to take benefit statement that we are going to analyze tomorrow. We are going to analyze on Thursday and break it apart so that you are able to see what will happen when you transfer and also what will happen when you resign and cash. So these are things that we want to bring forth so that we stop having to talk sentimentals around this question. We wanted to bring it, to make it practical so that you as members are able to relate and be closer to this process. Ultimately, continue to make a decision. Thank you very much for joining us. Firstly, before I proceed, we wish to take this opportunity to apologize to you members who indeed have joined us on Thursday, on Wednesday, as well as on Thursday, where we attempted to go live on this platform, but unfortunately we encountered some technical challenges. On Wednesday, it was load shedding, which now disrupted the network supply to the broadcast. And on Thursday, it was the sound issue, which blocked, and we could not be audible when we were supposed to run the workshop. So with that, we fully apologize sincerely, and we've worked hard to make sure that we now develop some systems to make sure that we are able to carry and bring you live this particular workshop. The workshop is called the opportunity cost. Do I retire or do I resign? So that is the theme which we are going to run with. The opportunity cost conundrum. So workshop. So we are going to define what is this opportunity cost. Because as someone who is going on retirement or who is of retirement age, you are caught into the opportunity cost conundrum because you are now faced with a decision: do I resign or do I retire? Or do I retire or resign from Gepf? So we believe with this workshop, we are going to indeed give you tools of decision making over and above anything else. Today, as initially indicated, it is part one of a four-part series. So part one only will look into first part, retire with Gepf, and then tomorrow, which is Tuesday, part two will also continue with retire with Gepf workshop. Wednesday, it will be part three, which will look into resign from Gepf workshop, and Part 4 will also be resigned from GEPF workshop. So let us begin, ladies and gentlemen. And I must also indicate that this workshop is brought to us by Center for Retirement and Advice, which is our retirement benefit counselor. But we'll get to that in due course to say, what do we mean when we talk retirement benefit counselor? Let's deal with some issues. Firstly, it is very important to mention and bring forward to the members that one, this presentation and the presenter are not employees of GEPF, are not associated with GEPF in any way, directly or and indirectly, and do not purport to represent GEPF. This content is based on independently developed and content and is derived from various sources publicly available, such as GEP law, such as Pension Fund Act, such as the Tax Administration Act, such as the actuarial report, which was done in 2021 for GPF, as well as for the annual reports which GPF issues. So through all those content, we have managed to put it together and develop this series for your benefit. And also, we wish to confirm that this series does not seek to contravene the Financial Advisory and Intermediary Service Act. What is this act about? This act seeks to govern the advice and the rendering of intermediary services. So in any fashion, we are saying any guidance, opinions, or proposals expressed by the presenter, which is myself, Edward Siweya, is for information purposes only and is not intended to be advised as contemplated in the FASE Act. Center for Retirement and Advice shall not be held liable for any damage or loss suffered resulting from an action taken by any delegate based on the presentation of the matters as discussed on this. So what we are effectively saying is that please consume this content with caution, because you still need to subject yourself through due process, where informally you can make it. Don't listen to this presentation and go and resign or retire. Subject yourself through due process, due decision-making process, so that you are able to make an informed decision. However, we did our level best to make sure that we give you honest, transparent, and factual-based information based on research and based on documentation, which supports the content. Again, what or who is the target audience? The presentation is specifically aimed at any GPF member who is currently of age 54 years and above. So meaning that effectively we are saying 54 because we are knocking within the age 55. We know that retirement age starts from 55 as per Pension Fund Act. As per GEPF, the retirement age minimum is age 55 except for educators. So therefore, what this effectively means is that 54, you are a leg into the age 55. So you need to pay closer attention, because this information will benefit you. Anyone from 56, 54 up to age 65 or 64, 11 months, this information is for you. Let's start with an issue, ladies and gentlemen. The concept or the theme of the presentation is the opportunity cost conundrum. What is an opportunity? An opportunity cost can be defined as the value of the best alternative forgone. That's what an opportunity cost is. It's simply defined as the value of the best alternative forgone. What does that mean? You've got A and B. On your left-hand side, you've got A, an apple. On your right-hand side, you've got a banana. Each one apple is 1 rand, one banana is 1 rand. You've got 1 rand in your pocket. So you have to then make a call. to say, with that R1 you have in the pocket, do you buy a banana on the right or do you buy an apple on the left? Because you can't have both. Both cost R2, but you've only got R1. So effectively, you have to make an opportunity cost decision. Because you want banana, you want an apple, but you now are going for the best alternative. Forgone. The forgone part, if you buy an apple on the left, you are foregoing the banana on the right. So the banana becomes the opportunity cost of you having acquired an apple. Equally, when you buy a banana on the right, the apple become an opportunity cost decision because you have decided to forsake an apple in favor of the banana. So that's what an opportunity cost is. So you see here, in terms of the picture, the gentleman is having choice A or choice B. Effectively, he can have both. He must make a choice. Choice A can represent retirement. Choice B can simply represent resignation. You can retire and resign both at the same time at Gepf. One of them must take effect. So what is the best alternative for gone between retirement as well as resignation? So this series, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, 6 to bring these issues to the fore, so that by the time you make a choice, you make a choice based on factors and on processes that you should have undergone to make sure that when you choose A, which represents retirement, you know that your best alternative for gone, which is B, which is resignation, you are not going to regret that I should have resigned. Or when you resign at an expense of retirement, you must not have buyer's remorse where you are like, I should have retired, but here I am, I have chosen to resign. So this is the essence of this particular process that we are here for. What is a conundrum? The conundrum can be defined as the most confusing and difficult problem or question. You'll always remember, colleagues, that to go for A instead of B, it's a conundrum. You must calculate advantages, disadvantages of each of A, and advantages and disadvantages of B, short, medium, and long-term benefit of A, short, medium, and long-term benefit of B, and then from there, you make a call, which that then call will say, I'm going with A or I'm going with B. That's what that conundrum question seeks to deal with. So ultimately, that is the decision that's made. Define the one opportunity cost. We've taken some time to define what do we mean by an opportunity cost. We further took some time to then define what is a conundrum. So when we say an opportunity cost conundrum, it means you are faced with the with a call to make the best alternative forgone decision, which is an opportunity cost, and that on its own is a conundrum. Hence, the workshop is called the opportunity cost conundrum. So we hope you are with us, ladies and gentlemen, on this one to say why did we call this workshop as such. Let's proceed with the core of the business. We know that GEPF as a fund came about as a result of Government Employees Pension Law Proclamation 21 of 1996. The proclamation, the core objective of the proclamation was simple, was to collapse the previously self-governing states as well as independent states pension fund into one singular fund. You'll remember there will be TBVC states, which used to be called Transkei, Bophuthatswana, Venda, Ciskei. They used to be Lebowa, Gazankulu, and the like. So all these self-governing states as well as independent states were collapsed under the Government Employees Pension Law Proclamation 21 of 1996. And this proclamation came about as a result of Nationalization of Pension Act. The Act, Nationalization of Pension Act, is the one that gave birth to Government Employees Pension Law. Then Government Employees Pension Law became the pension fund, so designed to consolidate all these self-governing states and independent states pension fund. GEPF is managed by a board of trustees. A board of trustees is like in a company, it's called board of directors. Their role primarily is to manage strategic decisions in relation to implementation of the government employees pension law. So that is what the board of trustees role is, to manage the implementation, the effective implementation of the government employees pension law. So therefore, the board consists of 16 members. 8 of those members are employer representatives. By employee, it does not mean individual employee, it means unions who are who have actually galvanized members within the public service sector. So here we are talking the likes of SATU, we are talking the likes of NUMSA, we are talking the likes of DENOSA and other related unions who are performing their functions within the public service administration. The 8 employer representatives might refer to different departments of government institutions, education, health, and other related departments. So that is what comprised the board of trustees. And that 16 board is chaired by the chairperson. The chairperson of the board is Mr. Dondo Mukhajani. Dondo Mukhajani is the one on at the top, the picture at the top. And the board has mandated the day-to-day responsibility of managing the fund to an executive committee. The executive committee is the management function that is carried out by executives within GEPF. And the principal executive officer of the fund is Mr. Musa Mabesa, who is responsible for the implementation of the Board of Trustee resolutions. So that is how the governance structure is currently constituted. GEPF, as at the last financial report, 2021-2022 financial report, GEPF had 1,261,363 active members. When we say current total contributing member size, that will represent the members who are part and parcel of active membership contributors. So the 1,261,363, that was the number as at the last financial year end. The financial year for GPF is 1 April up to 31 March the following year. So as it is, we've just concluded the 2022-2023 financial year as at 31 March. And GPF now is seized with the responsibility of producing the annual report. So the source is always referenced there to say, where do we get the information for your further research? Let me proceed with further. As at annual report, Gepf had 322,223 pensioners, and it had 167,679 spousal beneficiaries. These are the pensioners are members who either retired through ill health or who took early retirement, or who took normal retirement. It is 322,223 members. A number of spousal pension, these are members whom their spouses who were members of GPF and were retired passed on, or they might have died while still in service, and the spousal was there and recognized, then continue to earn spousal pension. And number of orphans, children, beneficiaries is 9,924 as at the last financial report. So we then went further and did a deep down analysis of saying, okay, since we've shown you 322,223 pensioners and the likes, how is this constituted? So this spreadsheet or this slide seeks to show you how the membership is constituted. Below 20 years, we've got 5,493. And this, by and large, might represent minor beneficiaries, which is around 1.3% of the total size of GPF membership. Between 20 and 24, it was 1,499, which was 0.3%. The most interesting part here is from 50 years to 54 years, 55 years, 59 years, 60 years, 64 years, 65 years to 69 years. Now, you start to realize that from 54, we've got 24,388 members who can be referred to as pensioners. This is normal pensioner age, or early retirement, or spouse pension. They are all clubbed into that particular number. But of interest, from 50 to 54, 55 to 59, you start to see now a jump in membership. You start to see a jump in membership because the difference is around 18,425, meaning that from 50 to 54, if we look at the difference, the number is 18,425. Now people are starting to retire here, early retirement. 60 to 64, the number jumps higher to 55,880, meaning the move from 50, 54, 55, 59, it's around 75% difference. 60 to age 60, 64, you see that now it has moved to 55,880, which is from 18,000 at 425 members who are 55 to 59. It has jumped up to at least 98,693. These are the people who exited in that financial year, and that accounted to 55,880. So, but as the age now tapers, you start to see now a gradual decline, because from 70, you see only 3,489 being onboarded. That we can firmly say, now let me bring these statistics again. From 55 years of age to 59 years, the number is 42,813. 18,425 more from 50 years to 54 years. From 60 years to 64 years, the number has jumped up from 42,000 to 98,000, and then 55,000 more, which represent 130,000. That is when majority of the people retire. From 65 to 69, then you start the number tapering down, only 3,409, which effectively can be members who waited to retire at 65, but also even spousal pensioners, as well as minor beneficiaries accounted to that. But of interest, from age 70 to 79, we start now a gradual reduction of membership. So from 65 to 69, it's 102,182. But age 70 to 79, it now reduces gradually, aggressively to 72,872. So what does that tell us? It means effectively there was a huge death rate between age 65 to 69. When members turn 70 to 79, that period of 9 years represented around 29,310 of members who died. And that is almost 28.7% change from the previous year. 80 to 84 years, it moved from 72,872. In that 4 years, 80 to 84 years, that is 4 years. Then it just became 35,208. 35,208, effectively 37,664 members reduction in number. And then 85 to 89, now it's only 16,454 people who are being paid pension. Remember, it started to taper up the graph, and then sharply, it quickly went down. And at 85 to 89, we see here it's 164,000. No, it's 16,457. So that is what this statistics is telling us, to say effectively anyone who retire, majority of the people start to come into retirement age from 55 to 59, that's 4 years. From 60 to 64, so from 55 to 70 to around 79, that is when you start to see a large number popping up. But from age 55 to 69, you start to see equally a huge gradual number of people who indeed are onboarded, up to the point where at age 65 to 69, we see 102, which is the highest peak of the new membership coming into retirement. But as now we add 5 years gradually up to 80, 84, 70 to 79, 80, 84, 85, 80, to 89, 4-year period, you start to see a gradual decline in membership, especially once members start to hit 70 years. Then already there is a huge death rate that is taking place by around 29,310, or it might also be that minors are now being taken off the radar, which reduces the number from 102 to 72. Also, it might be that spousal are dying, but it's a combination of multiple effects. So I just wanted to spend time here so that we understand quantitatively what these statistics are trying to tell us. That once it hit 69 years, which is at upper point, then the graph start to gradually decline as a consequence of minor children becoming adults. After the age of 22, they are taken off retirement gap, and also pensioners dying from that age 69 onwards. Then the number gradually going down on a sharp basis, and also spouse dying, which then also reduces the numbers to what we see. 100 years plus, we've got 344. There are members who are 100 years plus, and they only account to 344. We have spoken about this slide. Gepf as at last financial year, that is April 2021 to 31 March 2022. Gepf was 2.3 trillion in terms of fund size. So as at that financial year, 33,627 members retired, 2021, 2022. And out of those who retired, 21.4 billion was paid out in gratuities. What is a gratuity? Gratuity is a once-off lump sum. That's what gratuity is. You remember when you retire from GPF, you are promised a once-off gratuity. Plus, if you've got 10 years service or more, you are also promised an ongoing annuity. So this then represents the gratuity part for that financial year. In the same vein, same financial year, out of the 33,627 who retired, 62.3 billion rand was paid as a result of annuities. And what is an annuity? Annuity is a monthly compulsory income. And I must say that these annuities were certainly paid as a consequence of a normal retirement, early retirement, ill health, spousal, as well as child pension. There is only one door to enter GPF, and that is your condition of employment. But there are 4 doors to exit GPF. The first exit door is death in service. The second exit door, it's ill health exit, meaning you become sick while you are still employed. The third door is called retirement. And retirement can mean normal retirement or early retirement. We'll get to it in due course. And the last one is resignation. Now, you will recall, colleagues, that indeed, out of the 4 doors, 2 doors are involuntary. No one chooses to die in service, and no one chooses to fall sick while in service. So therefore, they are involuntary. But the other 2 doors are voluntary. You make a decision. That's where now an opportunity cost comes. Do I retire or do I resign? Voluntary exit is early retirement to normal retirement. And indeed, the last one is resignation. We are going to spend time to focus on voluntary exits instead of the involuntary exits. When you are at early or normal retirement age, 55 onwards, you are faced with the responsibility to make a primary decision. What is that primary decision? Do you retire as an option 1, or you go for option 2, which is do I resign? Today and tomorrow, today being Monday and tomorrow being Tuesday, we are going to focus on the question of do I want to retire? And then option 2, do I want to resign? We will look into it on Wednesday as well as on Thursday, because we've developed a series of post-retirement workshop where for over 4 days, we are going to discuss each topic in detail. And then the following week, we are going to do a Q&A live session where you will be having the liberty to ask as many questions as you have. Let's now look into retirement as a primary decision. GEPF is saying to you, if you've got 10 years or less in service, when you have reached the pension retirement age of 60, or if you are employed as per the Public Service Act and you can retire at 65, because remember, there are those who are required to retire at 60. For example, service employees. These are South African police, defense, intelligence. These services retire at 60, but others can retire at 65. So therefore, Here at age 60, you've got less than 10 years of service. You started working and you became permanent when you are 52 years old and you are a police. We know that at age 60 you must retire. Then you won't have to have, you won't qualify to have 10 years because you came in when you're 52, or you became permanent and joined Gepf as a condition when you were 52. So that is when then you find that you've got 10 years or less in service. Then you will only be paid gratuity. What is a gratuity? Gratuity is a once-off lump sum. That's what gratuity is. Gratuity, it's a once-off lump sum. You saw on the earlier slides where we've shown you how much gratuity was paid out in that particular period. So that is what this means. And then if you've got 10 years plus of pensionable service, then you'll qualify for gratuity as well as an annuity. What is annuity? An annuity, it's a monthly compulsory income. That's what an annuity is. However, there are those members who opt to go for retirement below the age of 60, which then it will be termed early retirement. Now, the policy says termination of membership before age 60 with the intention to retire will attract penalty. Yes, you can take early retirement at 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. But that will attract penalty, and you'll be your benefits, your annuity, if you've got 10 years or more of service, will be penalized 0.33% per month from the date, your age and date of retirement, early retirement, to age 60. Let me give an example. Here is someone who is 55 years of age, feels that they are tired, they need to take early retirement. Then what that means is that individual, Gepf is going to say, okay, you are 55 years currently, so therefore you still had 5 years more to go. What is 5 years of 12 months? That is 60 months. We're going to say 12 by 5, that is 60 months. And then we're going to say 60 times 0.33%. It means around 19.8% of the member gratuity will be reduced by that percentage, and the annuity will be reduced by that 19.8%. What it means effectively is that if you were promised R1 million as a gratuity, as per benefit statement, because remember, the benefit statement assumes that you are 60. So it's forward-looking, the benefit statement, based on the current prevailing information. But it has already assumed you are 60. So whatever you see on the benefit statement, it is not a present value, but it's a future value. So if that is a future value, it means then they must use 0.33% per month to discount it to present value. That is why you see that if you've been promised R1 million, you'll see that that million will be reduced by the percentage of 0.33% multiplied by the number of months from current age to age 60. And the annuity, which is the monthly pension, if you qualified, will be reduced similarly on the same basis. That point is very important. When we get to part 2 tomorrow, we are going to demonstrate this point scientifically in rent and cent using a live benefit statement of a member so that you can see what we mean by this in practical sense. The example tomorrow is of someone who has just turned age 62 in October, and then they've got November, December, so they are 62 years and 2 months. So we are going to analyze the benefit statement of someone who's 56 years and 2 months. They were born in 1967 October. So that is 56 years and 2 months. So that then it means we have to apply the penalty to their benefits and reduce reduce the benefits and then show them how much they will get after the penalty, and also will show them how much they'll get on monthly pension after we've applied the reduction. So tomorrow, indeed, we are going to show you practically how this concept is applied. And indeed, retirement can be normal, early retirement in terms of service conditions, with or without employer approval, or the expiry of your contract. Especially as a military employees, they find themselves being employed under what we call contracts a lot, and they must renew these contracts. So if the time has come for them the contract to expire and they don't want to renew, then they fall under this category of retirement. Gepf uses formula to determine your gratuity, which is a once-off lump sum, and the annuity, which is a monthly pension. For the gratuity formula on a member who is going to be writing or signing a 50% spousal pension, because remember with Gepf, the default spousal pension is 50% of what the pensioner gets. If the pensioner gets 10,000, then here the spouse, when the pensioner dies, will get half, which is 50%. But you are able, as a pensioner, to say, no, I wish to have my spouse to earn more than this 50%, meaning you can increase 50% to 75%. And when you increase it to 75%, then you must make a decision to say, what are you going to sacrifice? What will be your opportunity cost for that 75%? Your opportunity cost can either be the gratuity where they reduce it, or the annuity where they reduce it. But for you to increase your spousal pension to 75%, there must be an opportunity cost that must kick in. This point is very important. However, the default spousal pension is 50%. So that is the formula that Gepf uses when they want to determine your gratuity. It is scientific. I'm just showing you for the sake of showing you. I'm not expecting you members to indeed apply this formula, because it might not give you the correct, it might give you closer, but it might not give you the correct answers. Why? Because the final average salary 24 months, having forgone what you earned in the past year to this year. So this is quite technical. The best way to know what you're going to get as a gratuity, kindly request the benefit statement from Gepf. Then it will show you what the gratuity is. And also kindly request on the same benefit statement that requested, it will show you what your annuity is. An annuity, in simple term, it's a compulsory monthly pension. It's the pension that you earn till death, increasing annually by a percentage as announced by the Board of Trustees. That's what it simply means, effectively. Now, here you are now, you are considering retirement. Like a legal scale, there is an advantage and a disadvantage. Let's look at the advantages of retiring with Gepf. One is that Gepf will pay you gratuity. Gratuity is a once-off lump sum, either at early retirement or at normal. But remember, at early retirement, they must discount it by 0.33% to your current age. And at normal retirement, they just pay you as agreed. However, subject to tax. And tomorrow we are going to show you how the taxman normally will look at the gratuity and how the taxman will look at an annuity. Gepf says to you, we are going to pay you pension for life. And that pension is going to increase. If you had 15 years of service under normal retirement, not ill health, and ill health is 10 years, and you were a member of medical aid for a full 12 months without breaking membership contributions, you qualify for medical aid. And Gepf says part of medical aid subsidy. And Gepf says we are going to give you 15,000 for you and your family in the event of death. And that 15,000 funeral policy is taxable. is subject to tax. If you have got capped leave days while you are still employed, those capped leave days will be converted into a taxable lump sum, which form part of the income. So it is a taxable amount. When you are a member who retires at 60, you know that, and as at date of retirement, you've got a spouse. Then the spouse is entitled to spousal pension in the event of your death. It can be the default 50% or up to 75%. It depends what you chose as at date of retirement. This point is very important. If as a pensioner I was earning 10,000 and I pass on, it means my spouse will be earning 5,000 because it's 50% of what I was getting. But if I was earning 10,000 as pension, monthly compulsory annuity, and I've increased my spousal pension to 75%, it means my spouse will get 7,500 as her or his monthly pension. So that's what it means. Then over and above that, GPF then gives you a 5-year guarantee period. They say, look, Edward, you are 60 years now. We guarantee you 5 years that if from year one, day one of retirement to the next 60 months, if you were to die in between, we promise to give your beneficiaries a lump sum for the different period, from date of death to remaining period of 5 years. So let me give an example. Here is where I retires at age 60. When I retire at age 60, I live age 61. And immediately age 61, I die. Then it means 4 years are remaining for me to have arrived at 65. So 4 years is 48 months. And I was earning 10,000 as at date of my death. They are going to take 48 months multiplied by 10,000. That is 480,000. And they are going to pay to our nominated beneficiaries. And then they will check again, do I have a spouse? The answer is yes. Then my spouse will continue to earn pension. And they'll check again, do I have children who are below the age of 22 and who are not physically or mentally disabled? The answer is yes. Then my children will earn child pension up to the age of 22. Or they'll check, do I have a child or children who are disabled physically or mentally, either below the age of 22 or above? The answer is yes. Then that child will earn as a child open-ended without time frame. That's what this 5-year guarantee period means. If you live to year 1, year 2, year 3, you pass on, it means 2 years are remaining, 24 months. And at that point, you're earning 10,000. That's 280,000 will be paid to beneficiary. They then will check, do you have a spouse? If the answer is yes, as at date of death, then the spousal pension will pay to the spouse open-ended. That is what GPF put as advantage to you. What are the disadvantages of retiring with GPF? You can see the advantages are plenty. The disadvantages of retiring with GPF are two in the main. One is that if Siweya retires at 60, I don't have a spouse as at the date of retirement, or as I retire, I've got a spouse. Let me start with this one where I don't have a retirement as at date of retirement. Then if I don't have a spouse as at date of retirement, it means the spousal pension is forfeited automatically by default because I don't have a spouse. When I turn 60, 61, up to 65, I don't have a spouse. Then the spousal pension is forfeited by default. No negotiation because no spouse can be recorded. Then if I die year 1, year 2, year 3, my beneficiaries will receive only the difference of date of death to 5 years, the guaranteed period, lump sum. And that will be the end of it. There won't be any monthly pension coming into the household to look after the interest of children or anyone that is financially dependent on you, who is not a spouse. Now, another caveat is that if a pensioner dies after the guaranteed period of 5 years, beneficiaries will not receive anything. What it means is that, see, we are retired at 60. I lived until 65. 66, I died. It means I passed on after the 5-year guaranteed period. So the moment I turn age 65, that is day 0. The beneficiary nomination falls off. And what then exists beyond that is 0 lump sum. The only thing that it will look into is, do I have a spouse? And if I don't have a spouse, also at the date of death after 5 years, then is the end of the relationship between me and GPF. The only amount that will be paid to my family is the 15,000 rand funeral benefit, because that one is there on an open-ended basis. They'll get only 15,000, which will be taxed, and net of tax will be paid to them. But there won't be any monthly income, and there won't be any lump sum, which will be there for the family. So that is the core risk that you must contend with. So for you as a retiree, you need to benchmark the advantages against the disadvantages. Certainly, the advantages are there, which are plenty, but there are 2 disadvantages. What is your prevailing environment? What is your situation? That is the one that will derive an outcome and a view to say, which direction do you take? But these are the advantages and disadvantages of retiring. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached a presentation, and wherein tomorrow, which is Tuesday, we are going to get into now a case study where we can bring the practice in terms of live example of a GPF estimate of benefit statement. I hope you'll also join us tomorrow under part 2 of this series. And then the same benefit statement will be analyzed when we do resignation analysis and workshop on Wednesday and Thursday. So it's a 4-day series. So this week, ladies and gentlemen, you are in for a treat. Every day, Monday to Thursday, 1800 hours. Reserve the time. Come in, log in, join our YouTube channel, log into the Facebook, and sit it out during the workshop and benefit in terms of what the workshop can share with you on this one. So you will see what tomorrow will look like. We've brought in a financial service provider, because tomorrow, because it's analysis, it tends to veer into advice. So we had to bring in an authorized financial service provider and net worth analytics to conduct this analysis for us, and then for us to be able to share with you, because they are authorized to indeed conduct the analysis that we'll share with you tomorrow. And then with that analysis, believe that you are going to gain value. This is the benefit statement that we are going to deal with effectively tomorrow. 67 on the 30th of October, and have worked since 1996, 32 years, 5 months. You can see they were in the police or in the service because they were boosted 4 years and 5 months. This boost only applies to service employees. So that is what we are going to get into detail on tomorrow. And that is the amount that we are going to look at when we analyze deeply tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. With that said, that only takes us to the, we don't want to get into the gist of what we're going to effectively to try and draw you in terms of these are appetizers to join us. So tomorrow it's the analysis day, and we look forward to indeed hosting you as you join us into this analysis period. So we'll leave it here on the case study. Tomorrow, when we come in under part 2, we'll pick it up on the case study and run with it. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for having joined us on this Monday. We look forward to indeed seeing you tomorrow as you join us when now we unpack on an analytical the case study relating to indeed the retire with GPF. You know, GPF is just straightforward. There are no intricacies. So, but we're going to unpack it for you so that ultimately when we are done unpacking it for you, you will then relate to what we're going to share with you and you are going to gain value from it. We don't want to romanticize this thing. We want to make it to be practical so that it can talk to you, it can talk to your heart and talk to your desires and prompt you to want to do more. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We are us on board of the series. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we are doing part of the series. With that said, thank you and look to seeing you day 2 indeed series and let's see each other. Have a great evening further. Thank you very much.